Hello, Anthony.
Hello, I didn't hear a ringtone.
Do you want to play a game? Wait, no, that's
I think we're talking about Scream on the podcast today.
the call's coming from inside the house. Wait,
Oh
nope,
my
that's a
gosh.
stranger call. Oh, wait, here we go.
Okay.
I see you standing over the body of another dead president. Oh wait, shit, that's in the line of fire.
Yeah, Line of Fire. Yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
wait.
not even a horror movie. We're a horror podcast.
God, we are.
Oh, my nightmare, bitch.
Freddy Krueger's here.
You like the darkness? I was bored. I don't know why I was going with the Bane voice this whole
Listen.
time. I wanted to go with it, but
Mr. Ghostface, we're a big fan. It took us a lot to be able to do this episode because Golden was really insisting on us doing Jeepers Creepers, but we're doing the best we can to do our review on Scream 6.
what's your favorite scary movie?
Jeepers
Society.
Creepers.
How dare you?
That's your favorite scary movie? Oof.
Said nobody. Not even the creeper.
That's
It's like my mind was blank because I'm trying to riff on
Jeepers
Golden
Creepers.
because he hates that movie, and I was like, oh, I got to answer fast. I can't think of any other horror movie, even though I have shelves over here I can see, and I got Scream 6 right here. It's just tunnel vision, Jeepers Creepers.
You played yourself.
No. Welcome to this episode of Horror Dork. In case you couldn't tell already, we're going to be doing Stab 6, Scream 6, whatever. Same.
Stab you 6
So-
times.
They're up to 7 and
So joining me is Mr. Sir,
yeah, that's right. Hello. I'm Mr. Sir.
also the man Anthony, actually.
Hello.
I
Oh
know.
man, today no Anthony here.
Only
What is that
Zool?
voice?
Is it only Zool?
That's my man voice.
That's your Ving Rhames voice.
No,
Ooh, I sound
Anthony,
like Bing
only
Rhames.
Zool.
He's sexy.
Just welcome to another episode of.
No,
Watching
man,
the
I'm pretty
Justice
far from
Microphone
okay.
100
Nah,
times.
man, I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
Get some
Sound like-
couple pipe hitting. Well, we'll finish that one.
No, go ahead. I insist. Red
And
flag
pulled
warning,
off the air.
warning, podcast about to be discontinued from the internet.
Mr. Sir has been canceled.
My gosh.
So I
We
think
are all wound up today.
what's going to be a lot of fun about this is like because you mentioned that we're coming from 3 different levels when it comes to watching Scream 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've watched Scream
Golden's
1
on
and
the
2.
3rd floor of the house right now. Mr. Sir's on the 2nd floor, and I'm on the 1st floor. 3 different.
Three different-
Full of
It doesn't.
beans today.
It doesn't work for people that can see the video. Though.
No,
it's
it
only for our audio listeners.
Yeah, because if you can see us, you know that he's lying and not.
Right.
It's just really good
We're
CGI.
all just sitting on a couch next to each other.
AI man has come a
Nuts
long
to
way.
butts.
It's nuts to butts. It's a small count. Well, it's a small
Human centipede style.
no, just-
Yeah, but I want to be in the front.
Okay, so anyways,
wanna
I'll
have
get
my
back to
lips
Golden.
on.
What
Yes.
Golden was actually making a point.
3
for.
levels
I know.
because there's me who
For
once
once.
while I enjoy the Scream movies, I've only seen 1 and 2, and then I just kind of was
Right.
like, man, I'm done with it.
I've seen
Why?
all of them,
Okay.
and I like them, but they're not like my. It's not like my series.
I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen
Lies.
6.
You didn't watch, yeah, Anthony didn't watch the movie for the podcast.
I didn't want to spoil the others. No, I love the Scream movies. So
Yeah, Anthony's a big Scream head.
yeah,
Well,
it's not like my favorite horror series,
no,
but it's up
like
there,
as far
for sure.
of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
3 of us, he's like the biggest fan of the Scream series.
Yeah,
That's
three
fair.
of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've watched them, but like literally, I rewatched 4 because I had zero recollection of the events of that movie.
whereas I
When-
didn't watch 4
When
at
did
all.
the Scream
Ever.
series? Okay, I got a question for Golden. I got a question for Mr. Sir. Mr. Sir first. Did the Scream series ever hit you like anywhere in this like fan heart of yours?
Honestly, not really. Like it was always just like I watched it when it came out. My parents were very like allowing of us to watch like R-rated like scary movies. We usually watch them together. I watched it. I enjoyed it and everything, but like it was never like I was always more into like Jason and Freddy and those guys, Chucky. And so Ghostface, like it was because it was such a grounded series. Maybe I didn't connect with it as much. Because even Michael Myers like sort of has like a mysterious quality to him. But with the Ghostface, every movie is like a mystery as to who it is. It's a different person every time, so you never really like can like attach yourself to the Ghostface as a character. The Scream series is more about the characters that are getting picked off, as opposed to other horror franchises where it's definitely more,
I actually have an idea.
based around Jason or Freddy or Leatherface, those guys.
Remind me to come back to that because I have a theory.
Sure.
Fan theory.
Okay.
Golden. Why did you stop after 2? Like, what didn't resonate with these movies? Did the
honestly,
first one resonate with you?
First
Good?
one did, absolutely. I love the first one. I love the whole idea of it. The fact that like they're going over the tropes, the things that every of these horror movies have. And I felt like when it went into the second one, I was like, I didn't feel like it could hit as hard as the first one did, and because of that, I just never cared for it. And then the more and more people were all like, "Oh, another Scream movie, and this is so great! And let's put Ghostface and everything."
I knew that was part of it.
I fought against it even more and more. Like the more people pushed it is to elevate Ghostface into the levels with the Trinity, with Freddy, Jason, and Michael, the less I wanted to get into it. And
honestly,
at no
though,
time did I think they were bad movies, though.
I think Ghostface does belong on that echelon. if there was like a Mount Rushmore, it would be tough for me not to put like Leatherface or Chucky in there, but honestly, like the Scream series has been like more consistently good
Whoa.
in everything.
My mind just
So
blew, man, because you love Leatherface.
I love Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Part 2.
Is it because of how bad the sequels kind of are?
Yeah, man. Like it does sort of tarnish the legacy of that series. Is like how much I don't like those sequels. And honestly, I might go through the Scream series. I was gonna bring this up when Golden was talking about it. I'm a little bit of a different guy now than I was back then as well, because these are like,
You have hair in new places.
and I have an appreciation for movies that are
Starting
don't
to
take
like
themselves
girls.
more seriously. Like before, I was like, man, these movies are goofy. Like the third one has Jay and Silent Bob as characters in it. Literally, they're not playing. It's not Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith on set as playing Jay and Silent Bob. Jay and Silent Bob, the movie characters, are in the Scream movie franchise.
That was a Miramax thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Wes Craven was really wild about it, but that's another thing. Wes Craven did direct a good portion of these movies, and he just
First
has
four.
a style about him. I rewatched 4 because I remembered literally nothing about that movie. Like I remembered Emma Roberts was in it, and for whatever reason, I forgot that she. Well, I don't. If you haven't seen,
Oh, yeah.
watching Scream 6,
We're going to try not to spoil anything except for the Scream movies.
yeah.
Okay, so feel comfortable with that.
Okay,
We're going to spoil the shit out of all the
I
Scream
forgot
movies.
that Emma Roberts was one of the killers in that movie, so I was genuinely surprised when I watched it yesterday.
That's a nice surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, from a movie that I actually watched, but I remembered zero about it. I remember nothing. So I think I do, and like I've mellowed a lot, like as far as like what I'm willing to accept in a movie and stuff, as far as that. So I have been like, I was like, I remembered Scream 4 being like one of the crappier sequels, and honestly, when I watched it, I was like, that movie wasn't bad. Like it was, I thought it was, it was like
Yeah.
not terrible, but it, like as far as I remember 3 being worse.
You know what movie gets a lot of love from Scream fans that I was surprised? Scream 3.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't
Because
remember
think
liking
about
that movie.
Scream 3 and I think about the printer slowly printing that thing and there's a bomb in the house.
Yeah, it's like I mean that one I thought that like they jumped the shark as far as like the sequel ideas could go. Like they were literally filming they were on a movie set for that movie, and like Jay and Silent Bob, like as I said, like I felt like they jumped the shark completely. So when Scream 4 came out, I was already like set to be like kind of like
Well,
F
Wes
this
Craven,
movie, and
it's kind of funny you mention that, and I'm thinking about it now. The Miramax angle.
he's
pushing
in
that, but yeah, but
Jay and
Wes
Silent
Craven,
Bob
yeah.
Strike Back
Well,
as
the
well.
Scream movie is because it pulls off the mask and it's
Oh,
a
monkey.
chimpanzee. And he's
Yeah.
like, really, Wes?
And I think another big thing too that caused me to not care as much about Scream and all those things was because after Scream came out, the following Halloween, like 75% of all Halloween costumes were fucking Ghostface.
Well, you want to also
All
there
of
was
them were
also
Ghostface.
another Scream movie out.
Yeah.
because they really like that sequel came out 9 months after.
Yeah, and it was just like, so they're Irish twins.
Was it 9 months?
Yes. Yep.
Irish
that
twins.
fast?
It was that fast.
I know in the movies it's
She
a
said-
2-year difference, but
Yeah. No, they like
literally
literally
it was
like,
within a year, but I didn't realize it was 9 months.
It was it was 9 months. They podcast I listened to with Gorley and Russ recently did a it's a horror movie podcast where they go through like they'll do like a series, and they're like really funny guys.
What's the name of it again?
With Gorley and Russ.
With Gorley and Russ.
Yeah, because it used to be in Jason We Trust when they did
Oh,
the Friday the 13th movies, and then they did Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and all those. But when they did the Scream movies, that was something that they brought up when they did too. It's like that was a 9-month turnaround.
Yeah, and there was a different ending for Scream, or an additional
They
ending where they were going to have a third Ghostface in the bell tower at
Oh,
the end of
really?
the movie. Yeah.
so they kind of took that idea and put it in this one, the Scream 6. 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a first.
But also, I think it's funny too, like in this movie, because like at this point, all these people in some way or shape have gone through all this so many times, and yet they're still surprised to find out the person that they thought died was one of the ghosts. Like, it's been done.
Well, these characters have only been through it once. The core four,
Right.
Yeah.
The core four.
but they've seen all the stab movies.
I want to.
Exactly. That's the thing.
4 or
Right.
5.
There's three of us.
The 3.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
So
That was so awkward.
it
It was.
felt real gross doing that.
That was
Um,
terrible.
It felt good to me.
Now you
It-
asked
it
us
was.
about our relation to the Scream series. What is your relationship?
Okay, so I actually have a little bit of a funny story here.
Okay.
So
It's an open relationship. He's allowed to watch other horror movies.
well, then,
I've been seeing
you
Chucky.
stopped me dead in my tracks.
Ah,
I'm watching the Chucky series behind Ghostface back. So
That's not open.
you know, like
It's cheating.
I was like probably your typical 15, 14-year-old nerd, horror nerd when this movie came out. Thought I was all big and bad, watched all these horror movies, but really like the Nightmare on Elm Street. Nothing like too exotic. Maybe
Right.
Nightmare City was as exotic as that.
That's
Um,
pretty exotic.
And my mom had rented the movie Scream, and I was like, that's stupid. They're just riffing on like slashers. They're not gonna, and the horror at that point was kind of going downhill. But I came downstairs at the
Yeah,
part.
90s was not a good time for horror.
I came downstairs right at the part where, and I was just gonna watch it by myself. But I came down the stairs right at the part where Billy got killed in the first movie. Well, quote unquote killed, to fake out Sydney.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so fake. I'm not even gonna watch this movie. And my mom got all mad at me. She's like, it's good. You need to go back from the beginning and watch it. Blah blah blah. I was like, Mom, the kills look stupid. But really, and then he comes. So I kept watching, and then it just blew my mind because I'm like, oh, he was not supposed to actually die. He's just tricking it. It just that a movie would do that at that
It's really-
point.
and it's really funny
Yeah.
that you watch the twist of that.
Yeah, I know, right?
so it kind of just, well, honestly, no. Well, I mean, it depends on, like, at that time you would probably want to watch it as cold as possible, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It isn't like going into Empire Strikes Back, knowing that Darth Vader is Luke's dad or whatever.
Oh,
going into
I still haven't seen
Star
that.
Wars.
We said we were only going to be.
Yeah, we said
spoiling
we were
Scream.
only spoiling
Oh,
Scream,
my
dude.
bad. My
Shame
bad.
on you.
Damn.
But
Shame.
it's funny though too because
We're gonna make you do the
that
Game of
big
Thrones thing
surprise-
where you walk naked and we ring the bells at you.
that big surprise is like the whole big surprise
Gonna cut
or
my
the thing
wiener
from
off.
the thing where they're like, oh, if you spoke this other language, you would have known right at the
Keep
beginning
giving
of
me
the movie.
ideas. Sorry.
Oh, this guy I just lost.
Can you say what you said?
Oh, I said like the big surprise of Darth Vader thing goes
Mm.
in hand with like the thing where like I keep seeing these articles where they're like, oh, if you spoke Norwegian,
Yeah.
then in the beginning of the movie you would know what was going on because what they're screaming as they're chasing after the dog.
Dog yelling
gives away the
about
ending.
there's something
And Darth
wrong.
Vader
I
in
mean-
German it means father.
Oh,
Oh.
mind blown.
and
twice in one
it
podcast.
would be like based
I don't
on
know why I felt
German
the need to
stuff
put that.
because it's like all the Empire stuff is like so based style wise on Nazis and stuff.
So to get back to what I was saying here,
right.
So because Kevin Williamson's script and the final product of the movie incorporates so much of the original Halloween into it, which was my all-time favorite movie, probably still is my all-time favorite movie if I had to pick one. Mostly now for nostalgia, but I think it just hit me on such like a deep level that was like felt like it's the horror fan that this movie was made for,
Right.
and so I just
Because he was
finally
Jamie Kennedy.
accepted the sequels.
And you know what? That's
Anthony
how
was
I
little
felt
Jamie
when
Kennedy.
Yeah.
that's,
Well, that was my dream job, dude. I wanted to work in a video store.
you wanted to be Tarantino.
Yeah,
Working
without
at
knowing
video
it.
stores. So maybe it was dream jobs, and then until you work in a video store.
I would have loved it. Customers have never bothered.
That
me.
was
I loved working at GameStop.
that was how I
Customer
felt when I
service.
watched The Thing, another John Carpenter movie.
He was like,
It's
"That's
like,
my
this
dream
movie is
job. I've
made
always
for
wanted
me."
to go to Antarctica."
Funny thing about the thing with speaking of video rentals, I rented the thing. I had to beg my mom for like months and months and months, and I finally rent it. They got to call my parents to make sure it's okay because I'm like 13, maybe even younger. She says, "Yeah, get the movie home," and it was an ordeal to get down there to the movie place. I was young because I wasn't even allowed to walk by myself yet,
Gotcha.
so I was probably like 18. No,
25.
and I open up the movie, and it's The Crossing Guard. I'm like, this freaking movie. I put it in. I'm like, oh shit, this is a good movie. Still stupid that I got
It's
the
not
wrong
The
movie,
Thing.
but this is a good movie.
Yeah, it isn't The Thing, definitely.
That's exactly what the guy said.
Next time
too
I
at
go
the-
to
he's like, the thing, but at least you got a good movie.
that's gonna actually next time I go to Horror Fest, that's gonna be my cosplay. Actually, it's gonna be
The Crossing Guard.
Yes, the crossing guard. Exactly.
You gotta go as the thing for real.
I want to do McCready
Oh, okay.
because the problem
Say
is
Wilford
that I
Brimley.
refuse to shave off my beard.
Oh,
You'd have to use some of the latex to like smooth out your wrinkles to get the
Yeah.
Wilford Brimley.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that hurts. No, but like, and it's so weird because like, I'm somebody when it comes to cosplaying, I'm not one of those. It's like, "Ugh, you can't play this character. Look at you. You don't. But when it comes to stuff that I'm doing, I'm like, well, my character's got to have a beard. Otherwise have something that covers up the entire face where you don't see my beard because I'm not shaving my beard. But with anybody else, if they're doing a cosplay thing, I'd be like, no, it's okay that you have a beard and your character
Just
doesn't.
do the
But for
thing
mine, I have to.
with
So
the
I'm like,
twisted faces together and
But
one's
I-
hanging off.
I understand. Well,
Well,
'cause
you and Mike
'cause
could
you
go
don't-
double,
oh god, that
you know, and just attach the whole time.
that's just what it is. More people-
at the cheek.
It was bad enough. It was bad enough that when we went to the last one is Tucker and Dale, it was one of those things where like we had to be like together because
Otherwise, the
it's a
costume
couple's
isn't-
Well,
costume.
Tucker
yeah,
works,
right.
but Dale doesn't. Right? Or is it the other way around?
I mean, I feel like I don't know. No, I think it. I mean, you're at a horror fest, so I was actually a little shocked that more people didn't recognize who we were right away. It was actually a girl that works for Full Moon. Was the first one that.
Oh,
Freaked out.
all right.
She freaked out and it was amazing because she's like, "Oh my god, I love that! You're Tucker and Dale, right?" I'm like, "Oh," but we did that as the couple's costume. Just call it what it is. It's a couple's
That
costume.
movie doesn't have as big of a fan base as
I'm
you'd expect
surprised
it to.
honestly because it's so
Yeah.
good.
It is
And
good. It's
if-
funny too.
And the problem is because I realize we're not in the age of DVD anymore, so you don't. A lot of people miss out on special features. There is a special feature on the DVD for
Not
Tucker
horror
and
fans.
Dale that is amazing because
Yeah, that's true.
they recut the movie to where Tucker and Dale are the
oh
bad
yeah,
guys.
dude, that is amazing.
Where all they
I've
do
never
is
seen
all they do is they
that.
cut
I'm gonna
out
let you
certain
borrow
things.
when you leave today.
So
All
yeah,
right.
they show it's obviously way shorter of a movie because it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
it'd
starts
have
off
to
with like
be.
Dale walking over and going, "Oh, you guys going camping up there?" And then like so they keep cutting like the like
all
this
the
cut.
all their personal stuff is
And-
basically
yeah,
cut out,
yeah,
right?
Anything
Yeah,
where
yeah.
anything where you do, where it doesn't.
It's
look
more
like they-
following the guys going camping and
Yeah,
And it kind of cuts it so it looks like Dale purposely has that kid impaled on the.
yeah. Like a lot of this.
I
stuff,
have, yeah, no, I've never
so-
seen that. I never owned the movie.
It's,
I
it's
just
probably one of my
watched it.
favorite special
It was
features
streaming.
of anything. Like that's probably one of my
it's
favorite
up there
special
for sure.
features,
Yeah,
other than alternate endings, because I'm a big sucker for.
as far as
alternate
being
endings.
something
Wanna
interesting
know-
and different. Yeah,
Well, I know I had a cool DVD, and it's only cool because of like it was like we could do this, not whether we should do this. Was the Final Destination 3 DVD where you could choose your own ending
Yes.
for that, and you
Yes.
could it had the options to like pick stuff when you were going through.
way to tie
Oh,
this
yeah.
into radio silence, dude.
Yeah.
Because I did not realize that the channel was Chad, Matt, and or the radio silence was those YouTube guys that did the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. Like blew my mind. Maybe I did and I forgot. You know.
Yeah,
But-
go to get back to the Scream 6, directed by I don't remember their names, but they go by
It's like
Radio
Travis,
Silence.
Matt, and Chad.
They go by Radio Silence. You know them. They did the previous Scream. They also did pardon me, they did the first VHS, they did the last segment with the haunted house.
Yep. Southbound.
They did
Ready or Not.
Southbound. Ready or Not is there the Ready or Not is probably the movie that you would most
It looks
know
like a
them
Scream
for.
movie.
Yeah, right.
Like the sleekness of it.
Yes,
Like you were
yes.
saying to me earlier.
I
I didn't understand you.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that. now.
No. But they do.
Oh,
They
dumbass.
they have an eye for like making like a cinematic horror sequence look awesome. They just have that eye for that. Ready or Not is like a good showcase of that. That movie I would recommend. I won't spoil that movie. Samara Weaving is the main person
Oh
in
yeah,
that.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and
For some reason, my brain was thinking of You're Next, and not Ready or Not. So I'm like,
Oh,
I
you
really
don't
didn't
like You're
that
Next?
movie. I didn't care for it.
Get out.
No, I liked Get Out. That was a good one.
I knew as soon as I said it was going there. How do you not like
Who's
You're
next? You're next.
I gotta stop doing that. My daughter, I yelled at my daughter for doing that to people, and then I do it all the time to her, and she's like, Just gives you that look. I'm like, sorry, I forgot. I said we shouldn't do that to people.
So out of the, well, okay, Golden.
Yes.
We'll start with you. Out of the Scream movies that you watched, how would you rank it?
I mean, it was. I would say it was
rank the
second.
Scream movies.
It was. I would say Scream, Scream 6, Scream 2. So I really didn't care for Scream 2. I really didn't. And so,
Gotcha.
but I did enjoy this movie. I will say, not having seen the other ones,
Right.
you're just kind of like, yeah, sure,
Would
sure.
you, are you
I'll
gonna,
go with it.
You think you would go back and try to check those ones out?
Oh
now?
yeah, absolutely. I think it was.
Because I think that because I said I rewatched Scream 4 and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and so I think I'm just going to go through and just go through the Scream series again. I really like this movie a lot. I know maybe it's an unpopular opinion or whatever,
I
but
don't think so.
I-
This is widely well received.
I thought it was
Probably part of the
excellent.
reason why I don't like it.
Here's another reason why I liked it a lot. There's a couple of cool little Easter eggs in the
Oh,
beginning.
okay.
Oh yeah, you were like
Oh, you're
messaging
going
us about it.
somewhere else.
Yeah. I was like, so it goes to after Samara Weaving is Drew Barrymore. You think that she's the last Drew Barrymore, but then I'm the guy on the phone. I was like, it sounds like
Yeah, I
Flash.
knew in the theater. I knew that was
I was
Flash
like,
from
that sounds
Spider-Man.
like Flash from the newer Spider-Man movies. And
I
it
also
was.
seen him on the poster going in too, so I knew he was in the
I
movie.
didn't know he was in the movie. So I when it goes to his perspective, he kills her, and he goes back to his apartment, and he has a last podcast on the left poster.
Yeah.
And then he also has a We Hate Movies poster in there as well. And then Jenna Ortega's character also has a very, very prominent We Hate Movies poster as well. I thought that was really cool. These characters in the movies
So-
listen to the same shows that I do.
So speaking of that opening sequence, what did you think when Ghostface took off his mask?
Oh, when it was Flash,
Yeah,
I was very surprised. I was like, they're telling us who it is right now.
dude, I loved it. I'm like, thank you, finally. Because the thing with the Scream series, it doesn't really bother me, but one thing you can count on since the sequels have come out, since like 3, is it's going to be a lackluster revelation.
Yeah,
You know,
Honestly-
so I'm like, you can do away with the whole mystery angle at this point.
that's true.
See, what you're
I mean,
saying is the same thing as the whole M. Night Shyamalan should stop doing a twist because nobody's surprised by his twists anymore because you go into it going, oh, he's going to do
I
a
would
twist.
say that, except for his last 3 movies.
Those movies.
Which three?
Hold on.
Because if you're
I-
thinking of
I
any of the
have-
ones I'm thinking of, other than Knock at the Cabin, which I haven't seen, but if you're talking about old, is it old? That
That
was
movie doesn't have a twist.
so dumb.
Really?
There's
no, but you didn't like it?
No, why? God,
I like
no.
that movie.
I
I
do
liked it
too.
a lot.
Do you realize
But there's
how
no
many
twist.
I guess
how many
so.
times they don't go with their own fucking roles? There's so many.
I don't know why.
All right,
Okay,
all right.
wait a second. There's
Let's
so
not get
many
into
times
this.
it
Let's-
just doesn't
let's-
go with it.
old doesn't have a twist. Neither does
It does. It's the government doing it the whole time. It's testing.
That's just that's the story.
Still.
Like that's just the ending to it. It's not a
Yeah.
twist.
And if you're
But I'm
talking about
just
the
saying,
You
visit,
just think it's a twist
if
because
you're talking
saying,
about the
like,
visit,
stop
you can
trying
get
to
right
do
the fuck
visit
out.
the visit sort of has a
Horrible.
twist, but
It was-
I
it was
love
Oh,
the visit.
Visit's
How
so
would you like
The
good.
visit rules.
Shit.
Not so
2
good,
minutes in the
but
movie,
I
I'm like,
enjoyed
well, those
it.
aren't his real grandparents. Shock.
You- Okay,
I don't mind
I would
his twist.
I would normally
anymore.
just accept this sort of criticism if it wasn't Golden, who just
They-
doesn't like M. Night Shyamalan.
I don't. I
in
I
general.
liked him. No, I like certain of his movies because I loved Sixth
Unbreakable
Sense. I loved
rips.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable might be his best movie.
Then all of a sudden you're getting in, okay. The Village was garbage. What was the alien one?
Signs.
Signs
Signs is
Signs
sort
is
of
I like
horrible.
Signs.
Signs has
I enjoyed the shit out
Signs
of
has
Ugh.
a good
Ugh.
Signs has scary stuff in it.
Yeah, but
Like the part where they're filming the birthday party. That was chilling.
it was, but it just wasn't good. The whole movie wasn't good.
I will contend that
cannot-
Signs is whatever.
You will never convince me
I'm not trying to
that an
convince you
alien
of
race
anything.
smart enough
Oh, I
to travel
gotcha.
through thing is
That
going to
is
show up on a planet naked, covered. That's mostly the thing that kills them.
Hey man, you're not. You
Naked.
don't need to yell because
Naked.
I'm
Let's get
with
back
you.
to Scream.
I'm with you on that being a bad idea.
Like anytime, like could you imagine if one of the movies that shows humans going to another planet, it's always the same thing when they get to the planet. They go on in their full suit, they check to make sure everything's okay, and then they take off the helmet and go, it's breathable. Not a single time do they go
Maybe
running
I'll-
out there like, we're streaking through Mars, man!
I don't.
No! That's
Golden-
dumb!
Golden-
That's dumb!
Golden hasn't watched Prometheus.
Yeah.
I have.
Well, they do that in Prometheus. They-
Dumb.
It wasn't. Well,
It's
I mean, it was dumb.
The village was
hindsight.
dumb. Visit was dumb.
No,
And I like Split. I loved Split.
Split was good.
And I was-
Split also doesn't have a twist.
Yeah. And I liked what was the
Well-
Mr. Glass?
It doesn't matter.
Glass.
Let's just get back
Or
to
Glass. I feel like the twist was that he was physically changing in Split. Was like
You
there's
can
a
tell
little-
that he doesn't like M. Night Shyamalan by how much he talks about him.
I do not like him because because you know how many times I've watched a trailer for a movie and I'm like, oh my god, this movie looks so good, and they're like, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and I'm like, okay, never mind, not gonna, it's gonna be dumb. And then I try to give it a chance, and then you know what, it is dumb. But I'm gonna give Night at the Cabin a chance.
Speaking of twists,
see that.
so
Really
who did you have pegged, as the killer before the reveal?
the girl and the detective. The kid surprised me, but the whole time that I was watching it, Marianne was certain that that kid was the killer. I'm like, no way, it's stupid. This
I think I'm
It's
just
gonna be
bad
dumb if
at.
he's the
I
killer.
think I'm bad at like falling for a red herring.
Well,
stuff.
here's what
I
threw
had
me
Dermot.
off.
Dermot pegged for the killer.
The movie did do a good job throwing me off if that's what it wanted to do, but it felt cheap. When they had her die, as a horror fan, you go, okay, it didn't actually show her get killed. She's probably not dead. But then you're like, well, this is a Scream series. This is radio silence. They do quality. These are good writers on the script. They're not going to do something as stupid as that.
If they did, okay, so here's how I look at it. If they killed her further along in the movie, if that scene happened further along in the movie, then I would have probably, like, I would have probably thought, oh, she's probably still alive. That was like one of the first kills. And she's like, she exits the movie and is only referenced by the dad a couple times. I forgot that she was there, honestly.
did?
Yeah. So when the dad showed up and when the detective ended up being one of the killers, I was like, wait a second.
The reason why that kill is acceptable, and only because it's a Scream series, is because Billy does it in the first movie.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and they're so like obsessed with that as a series as a whole, that family is. They have the shrine and everything.
Well, Richie was obsessed.
Yeah.
They hated movies, remember, in the beginning. So here's another weird
So I had
thing.
the We Hate Movies shirt.
When Flash, I can't think of his name.
What are you, me calling people by character names from other things? Jesus. Don't stay in your own lane.
Don't listen to last week's episode. I'll go
Stephen
now for
Ulrich.
that.
Is it Stephen Ulrich?
Oh, I can't think of
It's
it.
the brother that nobody knows, like the Stephen Baldwin. Remember the other thing? It's another callback from way back. Flash. Let's just call him Flash. What are you, me? God.
What are you trying to talk about?
Yeah.
So
We'll help
okay,
you jog your memory.
no, I remember what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to think of the
Flash under
actor
your
or
dash.
the character's name in the movie,
Oh, gotcha.
but I can't think of it.
Who are they related to?
No, it's the guy who plays Flash in Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. All right.
Um,
I don't remember.
The guy that you don't care about because he dies right away in the movie?
Well, in the theater, I swear, and I could have just misheard it, but when I rewatched it twice before this show, I had subtitles on both times,
All right.
and I swore he said, "But we got to finish Richie's movie in the theater." But then when I watched the Voodoo version, it said that we got to finish the movie.
Oh, all right.
And then,
Maybe
then
Jason-
Ghostface says, "Who get Jason?" Yes,
Jason Carvey.
he says,
Can't get Carvey. Carvey.
Ghostface says.
"Who gives a fuck about movies?" And he slices
Yeah.
his throat. But I swore that he said we got to finish Richie's movie, and it made me think like, okay, this is going to be tied back to Richie when I was watching it in theaters. But I could have just
alright.
misheard it.
Gotcha. No, I I had Kirby. Kirby was who I thought
That
it was
was
going
a
to be.
likely suspect.
And then I, fell for every red herring that they threw at me. Because usually I'm like, well, this is either too obvious or they're making it obvious, and I'm going to be faked out. Because I also thought the boyfriend was also part of it as well.
I felt like it was obvious it was a detective because he goes right to the. He asks for the address for the therapist, and then goes right there and kills him.
Yeah, because that's what I was thought as well. That who is my first thought was the detective was in on it, and then when my focus shifted to Kirby, it was because you either thought it was the detective or Kirby, and if you thought it was Kirby, there's no way it could have been the detective because he was suspicious of her.
I mean, I was a little suspicious of Kirby, but I'm just like, there's only so many legacy characters left at this point.
Well, yeah, but they kept hinting at legacy characters could also be the killer as well or whatever, and they tried to set up Gale's kind of, but not really. But oh my god, my favorite part I think was the scene in the bodega.
I was gonna say the bodega scene
when Ghostface has his shotgun. That was so awesome. I've never wanted
that would be freaky.
I never wanted a Ghostface action figure before, but now I saw that. I want Ghostface with a shotgun. That was so cool.
I'll give you Ghostface with a shotgun. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene? Let's see.
Did you have
I really enjoyed the ladder across the.
Oh, that was really good
across the thing
too.
scene,
I hated that.
But the thing is, like, because the situation
kill,
that you're
but-
in, like, like that's not a good option, but that's the only option, and it's like when you're going, and I felt like because somebody's gonna get fucked up from
Yeah, because
end of
Sam even
story.
says that. She's like, "That's the only solution you have." He's like, "Yeah."
So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how. And then the way they did it too, because I was like, I was like, and when she fell, I was just like,
Yeah.
I swear to God, if something like I was doing the movies where like the
God,
dump
it's
truck
so-
filled with sand drives, I was like, I'm fucking done. I'll
Oh,
stop
yeah.
watching this movie right this
I knew
second
she
if
was
they
dying,
pull that.
yeah.
And then they just pop, crack, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep, no, yeah, she is
Okay, good.
very
Two-
dead.
two-
And I was
gave it two
honestly
flashbang on
worried
that
they
one.
were going to do something cheap like that because you see, I mean, it's in movies 100 times. The giant
Right.
dump truck filled with sand is driving through the alleyway right
Deadpool.
then, and they land on it, and it's like, oh no,
Oh, we're going to the feather factory. Here we go.
But usually
But
they
I-
see the truck coming
But I was
first.
also curious though too, like if, like, part of me was going, will Ghostface kill them this way, or is he not going to take joy in that? Because it's not. Because one thing about Ghostface is a lot of the Ghostface kills are up close and personal. They're very up close and personal.
Oh, you
so I
need
was
to see 5 so bad.
Well, this one, yeah. That one has excellent,
Oh,
like just visceral
but
kills.
so that's
man.
what I was thinking. I was
That's
like,
what I really
is he
liked
going to
about
just
5.
mess with her and not kill her because that's not a personal. It's not an up close personal kill. Is he going to let her go?
But
like,
once the
terrorize her?
motivation, but once the
just wa- like,
motivations
he
are,
didn't know
are
it at the
clear,
time.
Right.
You know, yeah.
but once the motivations are clear, it doesn't really.
Oh,
all that matters
he
is
didn't-
like those people are.
Yeah,
dead,
but he didn't know
you
to expect it at the time.
Right.
Right. So like, so I was just curious, like, because with that scene, I felt there were so many different ways it could go. Like some ways I was gonna be like, oh, okay, and then some ways I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And I think they went with a really good way. Like, but even the letting her go, like terrorizing her, but not killing her, I would have been okay with that too.
You would have
Yes.
on the ladder.
Just because again, that's the killer's like the way the killer does things. They're so personal that I could see that, and I could also then see them like they do that. They go to leave the apartment and Ghostface is already outside that door.
Right. Well, yeah, because as we learned, there's 3 of them, so
Yeah.
there could very well have like
and at
another
no time would I
person.
question that because of the fact that you don't think it's weird for there to be more than one.
Right.
You always assume, and I guess was it one? Which one of them that only had one? Because they keep
3.
mentioning that in the movie over and over again. They're like,
3.
they're like,
Roman.
well, remember there was only one in that one. The only solo Ghostface.
Sydney's half brother.
Yeah. And Sydney's sister and
Favorite
4
scary movie.
Cousin.
cousin. Yeah, that's right.
Then they got stuck in the dryer. That's just it was the stepsister.
Emma Roberts got stuck in the dryer.
It was a stepsister.
It just doesn't happen.
I'll keep going with that. No, like I definitely assumed it was going to be one of the either I always assumed it was going to be one of the cops, but then I didn't think it was going to be the woman because it was too obvious that it was going to be her. But then again, the brother, I'm just going to keep messing with. I'm just going to hold the mic now.
Kirby is from part 4. The cheerleader from.
Yeah, Charlie stabs her at the end.
Oh, okay.
She kind of has a little crush on Charlie, and he's one of the killers.
He hasn't seen.
But I was going to say the kid, the brother that was the
That's why I said that.
third Ghostface.
Yeah.
He was like, that one is the one that definitely surprised me because I was like,
On
they're
the
pointing to
train.
it too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Like I was like, there's no way it's going to be him because every chance they get, they lead you to say that's him.
Yeah, he
Including
seemed
the
like
fact that the one girl
obvious
just
choice.
keeps saying it's him. So I'm just going, no, it's not going to be him because they keep telling me it's him. What do you think? I'm an idiot? Oh fuck, I am.
Yeah, that's like what the thing because
that like
that's
a
what I was
blue
saying
herring?
with like the red herring or whatever is with those movies is it's either too obvious and you don't think it is and then they trick you that way
Yeah.
or it's the other way around like they kind of always keep you on your toes like and I don't know I always fall for it so these movies are pretty effective
Like,
in that
damn.
sense. Like I watched Scream 4 and I forgot everything about it. So when I rewatched it, I was like, "Oh crap, Emma Roberts is one of the killers."
You know, Matthew Lillard has a cameo in Scream 5.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. I'm not even joking
I
about
love
this.
Matthew Lillard.
He's in Scream 2. He's like in the party scene in the background. But he's also in Scream 5 when they're looking at the stab movies on the internet. He's the guy with the flamethrower.
Oh, okay.
You're not gonna recognize him.
See, what I think is funny is like I really like Matthew Lillard, even though 90% of the movies he's been in aren't good. Like he's been in a lot of movies that are just considered bad movies, like Wing Commander. Like
I was gonna
liked
say,
it,
what
but
was
that's
that?
because I'm not a Wing Commander
Yeah.
fan. But I know like all the
13
people.
Ghosts
That,
is
Oh
good.
yeah,
13 Ghosts is
Ooh.
amazing, and he played. I love his character. I love his character in that movie.
Yeah,
Where he's just fuck it. He's the guy. He's like, no, we gotta get out. Fuck.
Another movie.
yeah. What the hell does he say?
when
Did I say there's a petting zoo in the basement? No, it's filled with ghosts.
It's fucking
another movie
amazing.
where they
always do
really
that. They
do a
wait till
good
you're
blend
right
of
there.
CGI and practical.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that where he's like, oh, all the time. They wait till you're right there.
Yeah,
And that in the just in the beginning too, and he's like, his name's Breaker. He's like, I thought it was because he's a truck driver.
Is he in Without a Paddle?
Yes, I love
Yeah,
that.
my
movie,
wife
too.
really loves that movie. Yeah,
I love that movie.
I knew
love
you
that
would
movie.
like
100%.
you.
Watch that movie over and over again.
Golden and my
Well,
wife have a very similar taste in movies and TV
I
shows.
do like that
honestly.
movie. I always, for some reason, mix it up with Strange Wilderness. I don't know why. They're both set in the woods. I guess I don't know.
So,
Those are very different
I
movies.
know.
Another thing too, and it's
That's a Happy Madison movie.
And
It's
another
got,
thing
like
that-
Jonah Hill and stuff.
another thing that I love too about the Without a Paddle is funny because so there's an actor that in everything he's in, I love him in it, but I always call him Kubitschek because there was a show when I was young, which I know the joke's about to be like,
Another
oh, was it Andy
weird
Griffith show?
ass
No.
reference.
So it was Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Okay.
And the guy that plays who plays one of the big guy, he always plays this big guy. It was in it. He was like the school, like the person you don't mess with in the school. And like one point they show him he punches a school bus and it falls apart. But I think he was also because
that was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the TV show.
yeah. Oh, it really. It I was gonna say because I'm trying to think of what other because I'm trying to think of it. He was one of the ones that was in the movie. Because everything he's in. And I want to make sure I'm not. I want to make sure he's not one of the like I'm not confusing him with another actor
You're very
Who's very-
confused.
who's very like oh
What was your favorite part in Scream 6? Anthony?
I really like the shrine a lot. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that stuff was really that part was sick when they all
and
the
all Richie's drawings.
yeah in the graffiti.
How likely?
up there.
I mean, and I'm not saying it can't be likely, but how likely do you think it is that she had never, ever seen one picture of anybody from Richie's family?
That is really because that is something that I thought of as well. I was like, how does she not know anybody in his family? And like, yeah, that's very confusing.
And then one thought that I had on the drive home, because after I watched the movie in the theaters, I'm like, okay, and we're all talking about it in the car and stuff. And then I'm thinking, like, what the hell was the dad's plan? Like, he had to fake the daughter's death then what? Just give her a different alias for the rest of her life? Like she has to give up her existence because her brother was
mean, worth
murdered?
it.
Yeah,
'Cause he
wait
was
a
killing
second.
people?
Okay, you just stumbled upon a really huge plot hole that I didn't even consider while I was
It
watching
just
the
dawned
movie.
on me. I'm like, how is that supposed to work?
Yeah, that is bizarre.
'Cause she's
You
dead.
make a very good point. Yeah, they killed her. They have a funeral for her and
Yeah.
stuff. It was in a very expensive bit.
Yeah.
Worth it though. I
Talk
mean,
about
come
a
on,
bit.
revenge,
Talk
right?
about an expensive
Right.
bit.
I mean, unless they plan on just staying as Ghostface and killing people for the rest of their lives, like it was like this makes no sense to me.
No,
I mean, they did buy the theater, make the shrine, put in someone else's name.
I
To a
mean,
cell
yeah, it
phone.
was
Yeah.
like a
I
really
mean, clearly they were throwing
crazy
money
ass
away.
plan. Yeah, the
They were
plan
clearly
was
okay with
wild.
throwing money away for their plan. Like it was just like fucking.
And how they said that they could get the stuff from police evidence lockers and stuff. Like that's what made me think Kirby, because she was able to go across county lines because she was FBI, but it was the other cop because they're also well connected
Yeah,
as well.
I'm like half expecting now, and I don't think they would do it because society had enough incest for most movies. We just reviewed that.
If you don't know, shame on you.
The dad, because they don't talk about the mom, at least that I remember. The dad was hooking up with Nancy Loomis after she left Billy's dad, and then that's where all the kids come from. So Sam was with her half brother, Richie.
God, from the twisted mind of
Right.
Anthony.
Yeah,
Scream
when they got
7.
wet, they
Well, you know,
moved more.
they left it open so the mom can come back. If it's not,
They'll
at the-
always leave it open for another because you got to keep making that money.
Yeah, at the end of this movie, when Sam has the mask and she's looking at it, I was hoping she was going to keep it so in Scream 7 I
Yeah.
could talk to her like Green Goblin.
Like
Yeah,
that's the thing too is like I think with it being so grounded,
They
it being
already
so-
sort of have that with Skeet Ulrich as like in her like visions and stuff. Who looks like Skeet Ulrich does now. Like they couldn't do like the CGI de-aging stuff.
so that was
little
my
bit.
fan theory that I was talking about earlier. That's probably super
that he's
unpopular.
stuck in the
Okay.
mirrorverse.
I
Let's
just
go.
love the idea of Billy actually being, even though there's never been a supernatural element in the Scream series, you can send people to space. Why not just have a ghost? Like Billy's actually haunting these people.
So he-
He's been leading
So
these.
he's face
screams.
ghost.
Yeah,
Really?
he's been leading
Ghost face,
these
face ghost.
these ghost faces, and it would give a face for the ghost face the whole time. Like he almost possesses them in a sense.
Why not just go with the Jason Goes to
And
Hell?
that's why
plan?
they know stuff that they know without it
Just
like stretching the
go to-
imagination.
go the Jason Goes to Hell plan.
Yeah,
Always
Ghostface
love
goes to
the
hell.
No, I mean like because in Jason Goes to Hell wasn't it where he can just jump bodies?
Yeah.
Sort of,
Why not
yeah.
just go with it. Go
I
with
do
it.
At least haunting a couple like people in his bloodline because it could make sense that he's haunting Sam. He could have also haunted his mom.
This
because
is very
in,
Halloween. I mean,
in the
either-
beginning of Scream 2. Listen, I sat through your Blob sequel idea.
Whoa! No! I'm
so angry.
listening to you
Oh,
because
okay.
I have.
thought
some
you were
thoughts,
criticizing
too.
me.
No! I'm not criticizing.
okay,
I have
okay.
5 thoughts.
Okay.
5 thoughts.
I appreciate that.
6.
In the beginning of Scream 2, there's almost like a Jason Voorhees vibe. Because you hear a woman talking in the stall in the very beginning, and it almost sounds like he's saying something like "mommy" or something like that.
Okay,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't
You
because
seen
I
it in a
haven't
long
seen
time?
Scream 2.
Rewatch.
since it came
Definitely,
out.
definitely rewatch Scream. At least that part. And let me know what you think.
All right.
Just that one.
So I really like the idea of Ghost
No,
being
and I
Billy
okay.
being more substantial.
and
I
I
know a
think
lot of people don't like that angle.
But
No.
they're gonna have to go that way at a
right.
certain point.
And here's what I was thinking as well. Because this movie takes so much from the Halloween series, that is sort of like how Halloween, like the route that they did with Michael, sort of like not that, but they went like the supernatural element where when they sort of ran out of ideas to do with them when they did the Mark of Thorn stuff.
Yeah.
So I was,
Versus
yeah,
something,
that could be like, and because the Scream series is so meta, they could potentially just go somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
and they talk about it in part 4. They're bitching about the Stab series, and they were like, well, part 5 has like times or part 6 has a time travel element.
Well,
and
here's the
7 good they go to
here's-
space.
Here's the thing too. When I was watching Scream 5 originally, is like, would she know like what he was actually wearing? You know, like maybe from the movies, but she wouldn't know what he was going to look like now.
No, he looks exactly like Skeet Ulrich did. Well, he's
He's wearing
styled like
his-
Skeet Ulrich.
his
was
shirt-
in-
as far as I
Scream
know, and I
1.
could be incorrect, but as far as I know, it's pretty close to the wounds he suffered in the first Scream movie.
Right. Yeah, it does beg the question, like I feel like they did that specifically and left it like open-ended enough to where that is a possibility that they could an avenue they could go down
I
further.
mean,
if
it
they
and
makes
wanted
it
to.
easier to explain how they keep coming because, like,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, by Scream,
Unless
even here in
Stu's
Scream
still
6,
alive and
they're
he's
doing
really
some-
behind the
they're
scenes.
doing some fucking gymnastics.
And that is like,
They're like, well, I was this person's this, and so, but you look at like Jason movies, and they don't have to do that. They just go, yeah, he's back.
well, that's because
And that's the brilliance of
yeah,
being that kind of a character.
well, Scream doesn't really borrow from those sorts of slashers. Well, the kills in these movies, the part from I think like probably part 5 and 6, those are more like based on the later Jason movies and stuff where they get real creative with
Drop me
kills
on
and
'em.
stuff. But like the movies themselves are more in line with the Halloween movies where there's where there's one protagonist and they're following like a person. And like part Scream or Halloween 4 starts following Jamie, and that's part 4 and 5, and then they kind of forget about that in 6 in a really gross, awful way as well.
Depending
but-
which version you watch.
well, it doesn't really depend on which version you watch. They dispatch her in a
Oh,
gross.
I thought you were talking about the incest angle.
I'm talking about that, but I'm also talking about like, man, we really invested a lot of time into this character, and now they just unceremoniously kill her in a lame way.
So I don't think Stu will ever be back for the Scream movies. I know Matthew Lillard is all about it,
What else is he doing?
but as long as these writers and directors are involved, because if you look on the
Shaggy and a million Scooby Doo.
I mean, he nailed Shaggy.
if you look at the police board, the diagram where it shows the different killers, under Stu's picture, it said dead 1996. So if you wanted to continue off that, here's two ideas. One, you could do like the Hannibal Lecter angle where he's been in contact with different people somehow through mail. They find him in forums. Or two, his parents being rich and stuff were able to hire a really good lawyer to term that it really was, even though it was an ad-lib line, but it really was peer pressure and that he went insane. So to protect him, he won the insanity trial, went into protective custody. Now Ghostface is coming after him in the sequel,
okay.
Or he is dead,
and he's
and his ghost is also
maybe
talking
they
to
did
other people to try to
You
get
want to
them.
know what other
So
movies?
it's like
Oh,
a
okay,
constant
okay.
game. Like every episode is Skeet Ulrich's ghost is talking to them to try to kill them, and Matthew Lillard's ghost is trying to talk them to get them
It's
to
like
save.
the ultimate
it's
game
like-
of chess from beyond
and
the
then you
grave.
find out at the end,
the
of the,
good angel, devil on your shoulder, angel on your shoulder.
then you
guy, but
find
with
out-
Matthew Lillard.
you find out in the
you know.
post-credit sequence that it's actually just them playing a really cool tabletop game,
So
and then everybody's pissed.
you want to know what other?
Everybody.
Did you guys watch I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah,
No.
the third one.
Yeah. So did you know that they take a supernatural route with that one, and
Don't
it's
do
one of the dudes from Beyond the Grave, and it's like a Jason guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they it's like. It's not like outside the realm of possibility to do like so. I would
That's a series where the sequel is better than the original.
See,
Yeah,
I
part
liked-
2. He
It's
means.
fun.
I
Yeah,
still,
yeah, yeah.
I still know what you did last summer. Not I'll always know.
That movie is fun, and that
The
has
movie's
Jack
really
Black,
fun.
right?
Yeah, it's Jack Black with like dreadlocks, smokes weed because they're on Jamaica during a storm.
Of course.
Well, they tricked him.
Oh
'cause
no,
that was
that's
part
the
of
one where his name is
I'm
like.
spoiling.
it's
Now I'm
like-
spoiling. I still
Yeah,
know what you did
okay, so
last
we're gonna
summer.
spoil this, but like the sequel, the killer, his name is, and he reveals that he's like Ben Wilson or Will Benson or whatever it is.
Yeah, Ben Wilson.
Ben
He's
Wilson.
he's Will's son. That was literally like the twist. It was
Oh.
so.
Oh.
Oh, No, but that movie is like fun bad, dude.
Because it
Jack
doesn't
Black
take
in it, I'll
itself
watch it.
Yeah.
It's meant to
he
be.
is in it, and
It's meant to be
I'll watch
fun.
Jack Black and
He has a really spectacular death.
now I'm just reminded for whatever reason I'm reminded of his Jack Black's cameo in was it Jackal?
Yeah,
Bruce
the
Willis?
Jackal.
Yeah,
Where he's like, where he's the one that designed that fucking the targeting system. He's like, dude, what? And he's like, yeah, just zigzag, make it harder. He's-
Yeah, that was Jack Black's
Yeah.
like when he was like on Mr. Show and stuff and doing stuff with Ben Stiller, Tenacious D era Jack Black, not Bowser era Jack Black.
Jack Black's so good as Bowser.
I did watch that movie. It was all right.
It's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable.
I
Yeah.
liked it. I mean,
looks
for
good.
what it is. It's they definitely like keep going, and I like the fact that they go for the nostalgia in the movie for like all the different generations of Nintendo fans. Because there's a joke in it that's going to be
very heavily
for us.
Nintendo 64 era stuff, but
but they still
Yeah,
dip
yeah.
into like the
They
new
have,
ones.
like,
So like my
well,
daughter's
because,
like,
okay,
oh,
out
it's
of the
yeah.
game. A lot of the games went 3D after that. But what do you think about the masks in this?
I loved them. They looked
Yeah.
really
Do you
cool.
think they'd really rot like that though?
Yeah,
You do?
I think so. Honestly, I think some of
Cheap
them
ones
would
that we
be.
wore for Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like some of the more original ones would probably be even more degraded than they were.
Well, because like I have masks that are 10 years old, that have sat out. Because even the one he's wearing that was Jill's mask is like all rotted. And,
Right. Well, these are also ones that were like worn for like in like hot pursuit of murdering people, so they're probably like all sweaty and
Skin
stuff.
damage,
And
yeah.
yeah,
The next
they
one,
had blood all over them and stuff. They weren't washed or
in
anything.
Scream 7, they need to have one of the masks that was really popular for Halloween, where it was like the ghost face mask, but it had like blood would run down.
oh
through it.
yeah, they still sell those.
Or like the
Yeah.
glow in the dark one,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't
That's
be
where I
able to
thought he was
really
going.
like
Yeah.
sneak up on anybody wearing that.
They should have that in it then. He's like, what's your? I can see you glowing over there, dude.
The mask that's
Fuck.
in Happy Death
Grabbed the
Day
wrong one.
was a mask that we sold at
Baby
Spirit.
mask, right?
Yeah, we sold at Spirit like right before the movie came out, and it wasn't like branded for, Happy
Right.
Death Day. It was just like it was like
It's
legitimate.
creepy though.
Yeah, but legitimately, it was just a mask that somebody saw at a Spirit Halloween and thought was scary.
Yeah, because you texted me, you said there's this really popular mask for this movie, and the mask looks really cool. It's like a baby doll mask. Then I went and watched the movie in the theaters.
Yeah, that movie rips.
It's funny though,
Talk
because-
about a movie with and there's that person, that directing team is coming out with a movie that's sort of like It's a Wonderful Life, where instead of like that those two were like one was time travel, one was Groundhog's Day. This one is going to be like sort of like It's a Wonderful Life, not in the same universe or whatever, but
But it's funny though with like mask things because one day when I was because I used to work at a bank inside Tops, and like shortly after Halloween they had a clearance on like all the Halloween stuff. So there was this mask that's this like creepy looking, like it's like a porcelain doll broken mask, whatever.
right.
But it was like $1. So I bought it because I'm like, oh, I'm sure we can use this. And then we ended up using it in the first year that we did the mystery box challenge.
Okay.
Well, then this other local filmmaker, who's the one that's done like Casting Couch Slaughter and those, they have a movie that's actually an awesome idea. I have yet to see them. I want to see it. I think it's on YouTube, so I should be able to see it. But it's basically the idea is a bunch of these like serial killers end up facing off, like slashers end up facing off in the woods stuff. And one of those had that mask. He had the same mask, and I'm like, oh my god, I
Furies?
know that mask.
That's what I was about to say. There's a movie
Furies?
called The Furies
No,
that
it's not.
you need to watch.
That's the premise for the
Where
Furies.
that's the general premise is there's
This one's called. I want to say
women
this is called The Killer of Killers.
get kidnapped. They're set out in the woods, and then there's
yeah, like final.
there's
Girls.
all these there's all these killers that are like sort of like they all kind of look Jason-ish.
They like imprint on a particular person, right?
Yes,
Anyways, Chad,
spoiling the Furies.
Chad, the character in the movie that is Randy's nephew.
Yes.
It was kind of I was kind of shocked that he had survived at the end of Scream 5. Really, really shocked he survived
Yes,
Scream 6.
I was like, there's no chance in hell that guy is alive still.
in my mind, because the movie cuts away, I think I initially thought he got stabbed a ton more. Rewatching it the 2 times I watched it here that past like week, he gets stabbed. I mean, he gets stabbed a lot, but I think it's like 7 or 8 times. It's like in the shoulders and the arms and the legs.
Gotcha.
And it kind of makes sense because one inadequacy with this movie is, and it happens a lot with a lot of the Scream movies where you have an incompetent Ghostface, but both in and out of costume, which isn't usually the case, the characters that are Ghostface are incompetent, except for the dad.
Yeah, the dad's good, but that's just because he's like an in shape like guy that's been in law enforcement.
Yeah, and he
for a
knows how
long
to get
time.
around.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Stuff. So you buy it.
It's called Killer of Killers.
Killer of Killers.
Yeah, it's Foxtrot Productions.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
I mean, again, it's another local filmmakers, and a lot of some of my friends that are in our movies are in their movies, so that's why. And I'll always promote other of the local filmmakers because it's fun.
What did you think about Ben's or? Gosh, I'm still on.
Ben
I
Wilson?
still know what you did
He's
last summer.
Wilson.
What did you think about Chad surviving? He gets
Oh,
stabbed by
the
both
Core
of
4 guy?
Ghostfaces? Yeah.
Like I feel like because they wanted to be like, oh look, the Core 4 made it. I feel like they really did it just to have that nice little. I don't know.
Could be.
I feel like way too many people survived, and I don't mean like, oh, they made it to the end. I mean way too many people that they went to that well too many times of like, oh, they're dead.
I
Oh,
can
they're
agree.
not.
Yeah, I
The
gotcha.
FBI agent also comes at the last second.
That's a big
That's
trope
such
of
a
like
trope.
the Scream movies, though,
Yeah.
like in general. And like this one felt like they wanted to just like see how far they could push the limits of like the structure of the Scream movie.
Scream 7.
I
Everyone's
think
gonna
they
come
really-
back at the end.
I mean, the only place they
No
can
one
go
died.
now is to like break format, like literally, like because I think they've stretched it as far as they could go
But they
without
don't-
going too
I don't-
crazy.
They might not have to because this movie stuck to like the format completely. I mean, it found like new ways to kind of
Yeah,
do
You're
it.
gonna run
Did
out
it-
of water.
It was
in that
clever, but I think they could get away with it with 7 and possibly 8.
I think they need to take a little break with them. Though. Maybe just a couple.
Well,
years.
you know they
'Cause
won't.
This one only came like what? I felt like I just watched Scream 5 pretty
Yeah.
recently.
But then you might have
all
the
the hype that
situation
was
with
behind
Scream
6
5
coming
yeah.
out was
where
they're gonna-
like
they're gonna-
it's too much time.
as much as that makes sense.
Fair.
They like money,
Right.
Fair.
and that's what
yeah.
it's gonna come down to. Is somebody in
And
a
I mean,
studio is gonna be like,
I mean,
no,
this thing
we need
blew
7.
up.
If you
And
won't
you
do
got-
it, we will find
And
someone.
you have, and like one of your stars is Jenna Ortega, who's extremely popular right now,
especially in horror movies.
Yeah.
Wednesday Adams.
New Scream Queen. Well, Ty West likes her.
She is a Scream queen. She's
Yeah.
in the Scream movies.
Yeah,
I
duh.
thought that's why he said that.
Ty
I
West
assume that's
likes
why
her.
Anthony said it.
What's she in?
X.
Oh,
And,
she is
what's
in
it
X,
called?
that's right.
The other movie.
I haven't watched
X
the
and
other
the other
two
movie.
yet.
Why?
Well,
So-
Maxine isn't out yet. I haven't watched.
I haven't
I've
seen
not.
X.
I haven't seen.
I've seen XX or
X.
XY.
XXX.
So XY. That's what it is, right?
XX is the
XY was
that's the
unfortunately
anthology
disappointing.
film with female directors.
It was.
Good.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
I felt like it missed
That's-
a lot
that-
of chances. Like I felt it could have
There
been
were a
better.
cou-
It wasn't bad. I think I was expecting more from it. Like I felt there's a few times that they didn't quite go as far as they could have gone with it. But that
Right.
But then
no,
again,
I gotcha.
I don't know if I've ever
Golden won't watch
watched-
X. He won't like it.
was this
You know,
slow burn?
yeah.
Or you just
Ty
you just
West.
do that
No,
when
no,
you
no.
watch it?
Ty West movies
You're just doing this
are.
to make me watch the movie.
Ty West movies are slow burns.
But
Dude.
they always have a good payoff.
Oh yeah, dude.
Except for a segment in ABC's.
ABC's of Death
And
is
that's
his
like 30
worst
seconds.
thing
Which
he
one
ever
did he do?
made.
Which one was this?
The one with the miscarriage.
Oh, okay.
I miss for miscarriage.
I like the
Very terrible.
I like the Q. Q one was made me happy.
Yeah.
They just blew all the money on Coke.
Oh,
So then they
that's-
couldn't
that's
come up
right.
with an idea, so they just had a
Yeah.
fucking duck.
That's
Quack.
one of the funny ones. Who did that one? Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah. I'm
God,
pretty
Drew
sure that
Goddard did that. He's the guy that did. What else did he do?
was-
He
Oh.
did like a million.
I mean, there's very few anthologies that every single story is amazing. There's not. Like usually there's at least one that you're like, meh, I
We
can
did
something about
that.
that.
Creep Show.
Creep Show was really good, but and Trick or Treat, not Trick or
Trick or
Treat with
Treat.
Gene Simmons and
But
Ozzy Osbourne, which also isn't an anthology. So if you thought I was talking about that, then you're really just done.
one thing I want to touch on too is the Gail Weathers scene in her apartment.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, I really liked how clever that whole scene was with her knowing how to deal with a ghost face now.
Yeah, that I did like that.
Done it enough times.
But she's never talked on the phone to him. Which you don't realize because you haven't seen Sequel.
I like
They
that.
do mention it in
Right.
6. Like, we've never talked on the phone.
She just calls him in.
And I was thinking
So
in
why would you have
Scream
your
2 she
fucking
did.
ringtone on?
But now that I think back on it, I think she's just the part where Randy gets killed. I think Randy or Dewey answers and gives the phone to Randy or something like that. I don't remember. But so she actually doesn't talk on the phone.
Yeah.
That's the only part I could think of where she may have talked to a ghost face.
Randy.
They definitely did their homework. The writers are big fans of Scream. Super.
She'll be Ghostface in.
Yeah, they were the ones that made like the shrine, like the movie version of that.
She'll be in 7 as Ghostfaced. Ghostfaced. I don't know why. It's like past tense. I'm not Ghostface. I'm Ghostfaced.
Ghosted face.
Ghosted faced.
Do you think that Gal died?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. I thought she didn't because she said, "Tell Sydney he didn't get me." But then I was like, well, maybe it's just alluding to the fact that it's that chick that we thought died, and that's why she knew it, that it was a woman. But then I was like, why wouldn't she just say it was a woman?
Yeah.
So I was like, she's not.
Why don't you just be like, these are who the killers are?
Well, I don't think she knew. I just think
She knew.
at that point,
She read the
my
script.
mindset, she just knew it was a. Well, it's funny because nobody knew the ending for the movie until because they were all given different scripts until they actually shot that stuff.
They clued him.
Well, it's the Scream series is known for having multiple different scripts.
Yeah, the one for Scream 2 because it
leaked.
leaked.
And that
They-
pissed Wes Craven off so bad.
So they made like 12 fake versions of it. Like legitimately, I'm not exaggerating. There were like an absurd amount, so nobody would know what the real thing was.
I think this one had 8. I could be wrong, but I remember hearing that this had 8 different versions. But the writers knew which one was going to be the
Yeah.
because they got to give it to like the set designer, whoever, to make all this stuff for the end.
Yeah, you got to make like where she gets like cracked in the mouth, so they got to make like a prosthetic
Got
for
it,
the
and
mouth.
you got to fit the costumes and stuff.
Guys get stabbed through the chin. You got to make stuff for that.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff.
No,
It's
this-
so
like-
visceral.
Why would you even spoil it for people? Like, I feel like nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants that. So why would you even do it? Like, it's not going to give you anything
Yeah, and
out of it.
I feel like now, like I was saying earlier, like you really don't even have to make these. That's why I was so impressed when they
Here's what they should
Jason
do.
took off his mask in the beginning. Not Jason Voorhees. Jason Carver was his name.
Yeah. Jason
Um,
Carver.
I was like, yes. I was like, all right. I'm
Here's-
on board for this.
here's what
'Cause
they
I was
should
so
do for
mad
7.
that Samara Weaving went in the alleyway. I'm like, that's so stupid.
If
It's telegraphed.
If you want to surprise people, really want to surprise people for 7, this is how you do it. Okay. You make it obvious who Ghostface is right in the beginning. You have somebody leak the script that says who Ghostface is in the beginning, and then actually make it that person by the end, because no one's going to think it's that person. Everybody's going to be like, nope, they're doing it on purpose. Their purpose, I guarantee you,
You know,
everybody will assume that they
Here's
are doing that on purpose to fool you, and then you get there and you're
here's
like,
a point that I wanted to bring up is I don't really think people the spoiler thing I don't really think is as prevalent as it used to be anymore. Like
Depends on the
people like like I don't really even see like people like hardcore going at like spoilers about like Marvel stuff or
There are people that are.
I
that
do-
are-
movie.
I
don't know
really-
about that.
I
There are
don't
people that
see
are
it anymore.
assholes.
And like I follow that stuff. I just don't see it. Like I don't see people like going out of their way to spoil stuff.
There was so back when, and I'm gonna spoil them right now. Wow, back when one of the Star Wars movies, the newer ones, came out, the day after it came out, somebody that I was mutual friends with, and a bunch of people, my friends were also friends with them, and we were only like acquaintances, so it's like who don't really like this person, posted a thing that said, "Check out these sweet spoilers," and it was the back ends of cars, and then the last frame said Han Solo dies. And fucking,
so-
my one friend,
so-
that's it. I unfriended her.
Yeah,
And I go,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? I will too.
So-
Solidarity,
So
because that was it. That's a shit move.
that is the era I'm talking about where that people were like hardcore about spoiling stuff. It was so funny. Troll culture has really changed, and like that's not really like it's not really like people don't really give a crap
Well, I
about
think
those
it's-
things as much anymore either. So it kind of takes away the fun of spoiling it.
I think it still happens a lot, like on Reddit and stuff. But if you go on like Facebook, that's where I used to see a bunch of it, and I don't really see it on Facebook.
It's not on Facebook.
lot of times what
anymore.
they'll do
It
on-
I
isn't
think
on
it's because so
Twitter.
many
Twitter
so
used
many
to be
older,
lousy with it.
yeah,
too.
Twitter.
I've
too.
seen a lot
I
of
feel like
people.
so many older people got on Facebook that they just didn't get it anyway, so it wasn't even
I think a lot of people
getting
like
nothing out of it.
it's good to see like the way people do spoilers now on like Facebook or whatever it is. Someone will come on and say, like, oh, I just saw this movie, and they'll say spoilers in the comments where they're cool, where it's not something you're gonna see on your feed,
Yeah.
Right.
but they put it in their comments so that you're not gonna see it unless you go into it and you know you're gonna go into it.
Brother brought
That's a
up
better thing.
Spidey dying in Infinity War as being like one of those big spoilers. Yeah, like around like Endgame, that was like the fever pitch. Like, yeah, Infinity War was also a big one where they're like, oh, look at all the people that died in the movie. Like
Yeah,
literally like days before it comes out, real wide release. And like I remember specifically like scrolling through Twitter, and Twitter has this really awesome thing where it just auto plays videos.
Yeah.
Scrolling, and all of a sudden, literally 2 weeks before Endgame comes out, a big like montage of like huge scenes in it. Hulk snapping
Oh.
his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet. That is what the thing that I saw. I was like, oh, son of a. Yeah, I was so upset. Oh, I wasn't like upset, but I was like so annoyed that like somebody went out of their way to like do that. Like,
yeah. Why ruin things? Let people
douchebags.
like what they like. I mean,
I don't.
dick.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
but like, what
Except
I'm
for
saying is like
bad stuff.
that stuff. I don't see it anymore. Really, like what I said. Troll culture has kind of changed in that way, where they mess.
Mm,
They,
I see it a lot on
people-
Instagram for sure, like a lot.
Really,
Yeah,
you follow different stuff than I do.
I'm old
because
and I
what
don't
I
like
see
Instagram.
on
I follow
Instagram
like a
are
bunch
like
of horror stuff because it relates to our content. You know,
gotcha. I follow toy accounts, so I see a lot of action figures and customized.
I'm more-
action
those are
More-
spoilers in
I'm the
themselves.
old guy that's just in Facebook groups. So like I'm in the horror movie addicts group,
Mhm.
which it's a dual-edged sword. Like one thing that everybody goes to for it is, and it's crazy like how insane horror fans are, like with
Yeah, they're
knowledge
wild.
and knowing things. Like so, like constantly, I see all these posts that'll be like, "Guys, got to help me! I saw this movie when I was 10 years old. Someone had the red face and he stabbed someone, and like 2 minutes later, 30 people are like, "This is the movie," and they're like, "Oh my god, that was the movie." And I'm like, holy shit, I thought I was good with some of these things. And even the ones that I know, I'll click on it and there's already 20 people told them.
Yeah, they're like
Like
fucking
Night of the
Rain
Creeps is
Man
one of
with movies. Yes, Anthony is one of those guys as
Night
well.
of the Creeps, the person said,
Rain Man over here.
the person like, all I can
Ah,
remember
Hot
was,
Water
That
Baby.
movie was definitely definitely Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Definitely.
and it's funny because like the one person was like, this is, they're like, this is the movie. This is what I remember from this movie. And they're like, I'm going to start right off by saying it wasn't Slither. And it had blah, blah, blah with,
And then
with-
10 comments
with
say
slugs.
Slither.
Yeah,
And
you got
Michael
those
Rooker.
trolls. You got
There's
those trolls that
slugs.
would be like,
I
it's
don't
Slither, it's
even-
Slither, it's Slither.
Sometimes I don't even
Then
think they're trolls,
Night of the
man. I think
Creeps.
they're like legit, like
It's like
They
it
don't
says-
read anything.
Well, like,
They're
it
just
didn't even
or their
sound like-
comprehension
It
level
was
is
something
not
like
quite there.
there were these slugs, and I remember this guy was like laying down on the floor of the bathroom, and a slug was coming after him. And
a movie
with
called
thing- I was
Slugs.
like, oh, it's Night of the Creeps.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
You're
what they
right.
said,
You're
it's not
right. You're
Slither,
right.
It's not slugs.
Speaking of
It's Night of the
comprehension,
Creeps.
I wasn't listening to him.
So I was like, but it's like I got all excited because I'm like, oh, I know that movie. It's Night of the Creeps. I click on it, and like already people have already said it. I'm like, oh, well, never mind. But
Yeah,
it's really
always cool
good.
when you're the first one to get that one, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, that is whatever.
And there's some but some of the people like straight up give like almost nothing, and these guys are nailing it, and I'm like, but then you got other ones where they're like, bah, who do you all these people constantly they're going, oh,
Yeah.
what's your favorite horror movie? Like, why would you fucking they don't say what's your favorite horror movie, it's what's the best horror movie. It's like, stop
yeah,
stop, because this is just going to be an argument no matter what. You cannot put horror fans in a room and say what's the best one.
Right.
this,
right,
like-
right.
where someone writes, "Oh, I just watched Valentine with David Boreanaz. What are your thoughts on this movie?" And then you look at the comments and people actually share their thoughts and they're like, well, you're wrong, blah, blah. It's like you asked for their thoughts, asshole.
I like the one where someone like I saw the one where the person's like
What a movie to die a hill to die on a hill
Hey,
about too.
I just seen Valentine on the shelf over there. That's why I said it.
there'll be like ones where someone will comment and go, "That movie's shit," and then like I saw somebody comment on him and be like, "Do you have any like real criticism, or are you just gonna go
Yeah,
that
I've
shit?"
seen those
like,
too.
what part of it was bad? Why don't you actually offer something to the conversation?
Post-credit scene took me out of the entire movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Something Golden said earlier.
That would.
Or it'll be like a long conversation, and then someone in there's like, "Oh, this movie sucks."
Yeah.
Because you're wasting your time arguing about it. Like you're wasting your time posting.
You're like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen," and then there's one person who's like, all these people need to stop it with this new horror movies. They gotta start making horror movies like they used to and remember their fan base." It's like, well, first of all,
Those
fuck
are-
you, because the fan base includes people that love modern horror movies.
Right.
That you don't speak for the entire horror fan base.
Secondly, it's more
fucking
indicative of the
gatekeeper.
industry. Yeah. And it's more indicative of the industry as a whole, because to make like a practical horror movie, it's insanely more expensive than to do it with how they do it now. I mean,
They're
it's
even
just
talking
the
about, like,
fact
the
of it.
new
Or
style.
not
They're
just
like
that.
saying like movies like Nope or Get Out. I don't know. Nope, like Nope was
Right.
it was an imaginary movie. Like they're saying like even that style of horror. But it's like, dude, not every 80s horror movie was the same exact style. Even in
No,
the
I mean,
80s, there were slow burn.
And what
There was
frustrates me,
psychological. There was all these things.
I sort of get what they mean, but like at the same time,
Right.
I'm like, you got to have some more variety in what you
Or-
watch.
or for example, like the people that I've seen, not everybody I've seen, but I've seen a good amount of people that didn't like Scream 6 post and say, "Oh, they're not making the movies for the fans. They're just making a movie to make money." And it's like, well,
They do want to make money.
you know, if
Yeah.
if
Well,
it's a bad movie,
fucking movie.
it's not going to make money. And
That's
guess
true.
what? You're not the only fan. There's new fans too, man.
and
you know?
and
And
let's,
you hate every other Scream movie except the first one. How are you a fan of the series?
Why are you looking
and
at me when you say that?
let's be honest, like these movies aren't expensive to make either, and horror movies usually always make their money back most of the time.
Well, because
because
most movies
studio-
cost
studio
like
hor-
$10 to make.
Yeah, studio horror movies, and especially like the Scream series is like famous for this. Is like just people just want to go see it. It's a brand they trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's once they start making ones that like keep continuously sucking, like Saw. That's when you have the fan bases kind of drop off. They're like, I'm not paying money for this. But the Scream series, like most of them are directed by Wes Craven, and he has like a cinematic eye.
Switch.
And the radio silence people also have similar.
So which order do we want to go in? And let's say if we recommend it, do we want to start with ascending or descending? Like as in people, as in love of Scream, to whether or not we're going to
Ranking the Scream movies.
or no, I was just meant like, whether,
Oh,
would you recommend this? Like, because we already clarified that he's the biggest fan of them.
Oh,
You're the
gotcha.
medium. I'm the lowest.
I'd really highly recommend this movie,
I recommend it too. I like
even
it
if
a
you
lot.
haven't seen the previous movies.
I would recommend it. I mean, I would say watch the previous movies. 'Cause
Yeah, definitely
there's
watch. the
parts where
Scream
you're going to be
movies.
fucking lost.
Look,
You would be sort of lost.
I was lost in a few spots. I'll be honest.
if you want to watch a horror movie just to enjoy it, if you're looking for something elevated or something that's really going to challenge your thought process,
To watch Society.
don't
But-
watch Scream 6. Unless you want to challenge yourself and like, why? How does this make sense?
Yeah, I mean, once you like really kind of think about like who the killers are, the movie's sort of like, well, that is cool, but how the hell did some of this other stuff happen?
Yeah,
Don't-
watch-
you can't.
watch this, you'll-
You're not going to hear much. You're not going to hear me say this much about movies. Just don't think about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of like I enjoyed it, and
because I get mad about the dumbest things in movies. 'cause I'm like,
and
"That
this
makes no sense."
this movie has its finger on the pulse of the current horror meta.
right.
And this is what you're gonna get. This is like the epitome of it.
Plus, I mean, Samara Weaving, Ortega, all there's some nice things to look at. That's the creepy uncle recommendation right there. No, but I mean, because they're also amazing actresses. Like Samara Weaving.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
watch
everybody
anything
does a
with
good
Samara
job
Weaving.
in this,
I'll watch anything
except
with Ortega.
for Hayden, whatever her name is, Kirby. I think she stinks. I don't think she's a good
Hayden
actress.
Because her
Christensen.
lips can't move.
It's Hayden Christensen.
It's almost like a duck beak.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
fuck
harsh,
IMDb
but I
go
just
there?
she's not expressive anymore, and I don't think
I
she
think
was
she's
really
had some kind of lip surgery or
good
something because
actress.
her mouth,
I'm still on
I couldn't
bucket
get any
list, can't
emotion
lose.
off her face really.
No, yeah, she was not. I was like, maybe that got into the uncanny valley area where I didn't. My brain was telling
thought
me
she was a
not
doll.
were telling me not to
Gal
trust
Weathers.
her. Oh my god! Oh what? Where she looks like she's wearing a mask.
Yeah, she
A
definitely.
mask of.
I was
Gal-
like, the Crypt Keepers in this movie?
Yeah, Courtney Cox definitely had some surgery.
and ghouls.
She definitely had some surgery, and
What? No way.
it's one of those where at a
out
certain
of
point you
town.
just go, "Please stop." You're starting to look like you're an extra in that scene from Escape from L.A.
I mean, she
Yeah.
started doing that in like the Friends era. Like if you watch that show, she looks
is
pretty
fine when you're
significantly
younger.
different
When
by
you're
the
younger,
final
that's
season.
fine. But when you get old and everything starts hanging off weird, those parts that will no longer that don't move anymore aren't in the right
I
spot.
mean, she's got her face stapled to the back of her head. Like
She's had so many Tommy
yeah,
tucks, her
stop.
assholes on her lips. Ah,
God.
ah. Sorry, facelifts. Damn it, I fucked that up. Stupid.
You're a butthead.
Speaking of society, no, I definitely.
Hey, you're right. I am a butthead.
So, did you guys rate it?
Recommend, highly recommend. I like.
You want me
a
to rate
lot.
it?
No.
Do you want me to throw some numbers out there?
Please no.
3.1.
I want to sleep tonight.
Pi. I rate it pi. 3.14 is tough.
All right. Well, with that said, I'm Mr. Sir.
I'm Anthony.
I'm golden.
This was Horror Dork.